Hello everybody, today I am making a video where I rank every Five Nights at Freddy's game from worst to best. Now this includes official games, spin-offs, and troll games. And I'm going to get straight into this because this is probably going to be a very long video. Number 20, Ultimate Custom Night Demo. This is basically, if you don't know what it is, you just play as this little dude and then you fly around and shoot things, and well, it doesn't sound bad, but it kind of is. It's a troll game, and it's one of Scott's old games, but designed as a Fnaf game, and it's not the best. Okay, if you've played it, you would know. If you haven't played it, you wouldn't know. It's pretty bad. Number 19, Sister Location MA, which is Mature Edition. This is another troll game. This is like a sit and survive game. It's a remake of one of Scott's old games again, but you're wearing a Freddy mask, and what you do is you sit down in a forest, and then you defend against mosquitoes and crap, and then you survive the night, and then you get upgrades. You get money, and then you can spend money on upgrades. It's just, it's like, I don't know. It's really basic. There's not much to it, and it's a little bit better than the Ultimate Custom Night Troll, because at least this game doesn't look terrible. Like the Ultimate Custom Night Demo Troll, it looks terrible, alright? Number 18, FNAF World Halloween Edition. This game, it's basically FNAF World, but much worse. Some aspects of it I actually kind of like, but in the end it's just a worse version of FNAF World, and FNAF World is just better. So that makes this game a lot worse. Yeah, there's not too much to say besides like the shop system. I actually really like the shop system. Honestly, possibly more than the actual FNAF World, but like the battles and all like the visuals, they're just not as appealing as FNAF World. Number 17, FNAF AR. Now this game, I don't really understand it. It's very complicated for my small brain. But I mean, I really can't say too much about this game. This is probably, like, out of every game on this list, I know the least about this game. I still have it. I don't think it's even on the App Store anymore. But, yeah, there's an animatronic, and then you have to give the app your camera, like, control or something like that, and then it uses your camera and displays that on the phone. And then it shows an animatronic, and then you have to look around and shock it and stuff. It's hard to understand for me, even so. My explanation, it might not even be right. I don't even know how to play the freaking game. Yeah, it's a mobile game, so it's not anything I'm interested in. Number 16, FNAF 3 Troll. This is like Geometry Dash and Unfair Mario combined. You play as this little Anim dude wearing a Freddy mask, I think. It's another one of Scott's old games, and then you just run to the left with no control on your movements besides jumping. You can jump, so in that sense it's like Geometry Dash, but there's spikes and crap that just pop out of nowhere, and that's a lot like Unfair Mario, but there's 20, 30, one of those two. There's either 20 levels or 30 levels. I've beaten all 20 or 30, however many levels there are. I've beaten them all a couple times. It's actually pretty fun. This is where we actually get in the fun games. Everything before it, it's like, I don't really care about, but this is actually a fun game. Number 15, Freddy in Space 2. This is just like Freddy in Space 1, but, well, actually, I can't even say that. It's nothing like Freddy in Space 1. It's its own thing. It's a heck of a lot better than FNAF 57, Freddy in Space, from FNAF World. It's just, like, they took the idea and then revamped everything. The execution of the original was just terrible in FNAF World, but this one, it's actually good. You have different characters, weapons that you can upgrade and stuff, and everything. It's actually pretty awesome. Number 14, FNAF the movie, the game. This is Freddy in Space 3, Chica in Space. This game, it's a little bit better. I mean, it's necessarily like basically the same thing, but with different levels and different stuff. You know, I know it's the same, but everything's different. Yeah, that makes sense. But I hope you get what I mean by that. It's basically the same thing with different levels. and different. I mean, I'm basically saying the same thing, but I mean, I hope you understand what I mean by that. But what is different is just better. I mean, it's literally just a better version of Freddy in Space 2. It's the levels are more appealing. Um, the levels, they're more interesting, they're more memorable. That's for sure. I can't even memorize any level from Freddy in Space 2. I can memorize most of them from this game. It's just much more memorable. Number 13. Number 13 is Security Breach Fury's Rage. This is a classic beat 'em up style game like Double Dragon. But it's actually better, probably. Like, this is actually pretty fun. You just go around as either Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Roxy, or Monty. You can play as all four of those guys. They all have different stats. Glamrock Chica and Roxy really suck. You either want to play as Glamrock Freddy for speed, or or Monty for damage. I think that's how it goes. You either want to play as those two. Roxy and Glamrock Chica, they don't even play as them. Don't bother with it. And then you just go through, and then you beat people up. That's why they're called beat 'em ups. And then there's boss fights where most of the boss fights are pretty good. And there's a hard mode and stuff. It's actually not bad. Number 12. I think this is where we get into the official like full games, and this is the worst one on the list. But I really do like this game still. So even though it's at the bottom of the list, this game, there's almost nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's obviously something wrong with it, or else it wouldn't be my least favorite FNAF game. I just kind of had to pick one, and this one happened to be last place. It's Security Breach. It's just regular old Security Breach. It's actually really good, okay? And that says a lot, because what number is this? No, there's 11 numbers. There's 11 games that are better than this, and I love this game. So that says a lot. The base game, I'm not going to talk about Ruin, because I actually did put Ruin separately. For the other DLCs, like the freaking, the Sister Location Custom Night, that was free DLC, that I'm counting as the same game. And Dreadbear, the Curse of Dreadbear for Help Wanted, I'm counting that as the same game, because it's all part of this game. Whereas Security Breach and Ruin, you go on the menu, there's literally two different play buttons. It's either play Security Breach or play Ruin. So I counted them as separate. So that's just the way I did things. So Security Breach, it's very open world, and I might actually have to change this around after I play the games again, like Security Breach and Ruin, because the only things I've done was just a completionist. I've never done a casual playthrough. I mean, I did like the first time, but the first time I was learning everything. So I might have to do a playthrough on these games now that I've done everything. And maybe I'll talk about it in that video where they would go, but as of right now, these games, okay, I can't say anything about Ruin, of course, we haven't got there yet, but Security Breach, it's got some problems, okay? The open world aspect, I don't have anything against it, but they're not really my type of games. Like, I don't know, so half the time, at least before I kind of got everything down, when I was first playing the game, I got lost. I was completely lost. Oh crap. I was so lost, I didn't know what I was doing. It was unreal. It was like, it was stupid. It was just, all I was doing the entire game was figuring out where to go. And by the time I figured out where to go, I was so bored of the game that I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to do anything besides play this game by the time I figured out what to do. It's that, in that way, it's actually pretty annoying. Once you get it down, that's not a problem though. The characters, before I actually liked this game, because I used to hate this game, before I enjoyed this game, I would always say that the characters were the best part of the game, and they were actually really cool characters. Now that I've completed these games all the way through, I can definitely say that the characters are the best part of the game, probably. Like, the characters are awesome. The main four specifically, Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Monty, and Roxy. I would say all four of them are awesome, but one of them I'm iffy on. I'm going to save that for a later time though, because I have a video planned, alright? And I'll share my opinions then. But one of them is not as good as the others, not even close to as good as the others. But for the three that I do like, they're awesome. Like these three characters, They're like top 15 characters of all time. Like, they're awesome. And there's also, of course, DJ Music Man. Don't really care about him, but Mini Music Man, he's freaking awesome. I really like Mini Music Man. Vanny, I don't really care about. Vanessa, I don't care about human characters. So it's really just that. And like Sun and Moon, I was alright with them at first, but the more I play the games, the more I realize how obnoxious they are, and I don't really like them anymore. The Burn Trap, it's kind of getting boring seeing Springtrap in every game ever, but he looks cool at least. I mean, he's still just boring old Springtrap, but he looks cool. Are there any other characters? I don't think so. I think that's all of them, but the characters are awesome, specifically the main 4 minus 1. But the all right, I know I'm talking a lot of crap about most of these characters, but just trust me on this, okay? Characters are cool. Gameplay though, it needs some work. But there are points where I really enjoy the game, like the Monty boss fight. I don't have that on recording. My first time playing the Monty boss fight or Mazer Size. I wish I would have. Mazer Size, we don't talk about Mazer Size, but the boss fight with Monty was freaking awesome. It was sick. My second favorite part in the entire game. My first favorite part is the part with Roxy, Shattered Roxy. Right after you take her eyes out, you go through a part where she doesn't have her eyes, so she can only hear you or sniff you. I think that's how that works. And then you need to lead her to break like boards that are over doors so you can progress to an area. It's freaking awesome. That's the best part of the entire game. There's moments in this game that are just fantastic, but then there's other moments where I'm either just lost or the gameplay is not fun. Like the part where you go inside of this security room where there's 150 cameras or monitors, and then Roxy and Monty are on either side trying to get in, and you have to shock them, and you have to like let Freddy in through the cameras, and you have to press a button to open a door that Freddy's at. You guys know what I'm talking about. That part, it draws on forever. It's not fun at all. And the other camera system part that I can think of is it's man, I'm trying to remember how far in the game this is, but there's another part. Oh, it's right at the beginning of the game almost. You go into L chips, and then you go through a vent after you figure out how to get out of L chips, and then you go into a security room where Monty and Roxy, again the two somehow, are trying to get into your office, and you need to lock the doors. The camera on the Fazwatch is horrendous. It's terrible. So that alone just breaks the entire segment for me. I hate it. So there's other parts. I already listed those 2 parts, and those 2 parts that were actually good are freaking phenomenal. But then there's the 2 parts that I mentioned just now, and they suck. They're so bad. And I could go on and on about segments in this game, but I'm just gonna stop talking about Security Breach. I could talk about this game for an hour and still have more to say. So I'm just gonna move on. Number 11. By the way, I haven't made this list in a while, so I don't remember exactly where I put things. Sister Location. Okay, this game, it's a little bit better than Security Breach just because of one thing. First, main Five Nights are trash. There's a couple segments that I do like. I like the Funtime Freddy in the break room segment on night 2, I think, and then night 4. That's it. Everything else, trash. Night 4 is awesome. I really enjoy night 4. And the break room with Funtime Freddy. I really like the break room with Funtime Freddy, except for the danger indicator. That's false advertisement. Besides the point, the freaking breaker room is awesome. Everything else though, even the Funtime like gallery, whatever, where you go through Funtime Foxy's room and you flash the beacon, I don't like that part. The Ballora gallery, don't like that part. Doing the crap with Circus Baby and Funtime Freddy, like fixing them up and stuff, don't like that. You don't really fix up Baby, but you do it with Funtime Freddy, and then you go to Circus Baby on night 5, and it's not fun. The other fun part is Ennard, the secret ending, or I guess you can say that, the private room ending. That's pretty cool. It doesn't have hotkeys though, like the custom night, but hotkeys really didn't exist yet, so I can't say anything. So basically the entire game sucks except for the breaker room. Night 4, and the secret end with Ennard, the private room ending. Everything else is trash. And then the custom night, the free DLC that was added, it's awesome. It's the best custom night. It's better than Ultimate Custom Night. Truthfully, it really is. Like, this custom night is so sick. I wish that was the entire game. You can take out all 5 nights. You can take out the break room segment. You can take out night 4. I don't care. Just make this game actually good. Alright? Whatever it takes just to get rid of all the bad parts of the game. You have that custom night. If that custom night was the main 5 nights, this would be one of my favorite games of all time. Like, that would be so sick. But the custom night, it's too good. I can't raise it too high just because the custom night is good. We still gotta look at the main 5 nights, and they're garbage. They're complete trash. So the custom night, it's not going to revive this entire game for me. It's still trash. But that custom night, it's killer. With, like, the management required is just, it's awesome. It's just a legendary custom night. Alright? Like, you have to focus on so many different things at a time, and it really is peak FNAF. It really is. Like, the custom night, Scott Cawthon, he knew what he was doing with the custom night. He did. There's, like, visual cues, audio cues, freaking cues using senses that you would never expect to use. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing would pull out and make me taste something. Like, this thing uses all of my senses, basically. It's crazy. Yeah, it just basically the custom night is awesome. Number 10. Help Wanted. The original Help Wanted, the one that came out freaking when? 2016? 2017 or 2018. Man, I don't know. I don't know when this game came out. Definitely wasn't 2016. Don't know what I was thinking. But anyways, doesn't matter when this game came out. It's, if we're talking about at a VR standpoint, it's actually not bad. Not bad at all. But I prefer keyboard and mouse, and the flat mode is trash. The flat mode, like, they spent 2 minutes on it. No play testing whatsoever. It's really pathetic. Like, the flat mode is terrible. So I'm just going to talk about the VR mode. I played it on both. I still prefer flat mode, but I have played it on VR and flat mode. I'll talk about VR because flat mode is busted beyond belief. So we have, like, the main, like, we got FNAF 1. It's alright. Could be harder. No real complaints about that. FNAF 2, far too easy. It's way too easy. I like the Wizard's Night. But the other 5 nights, they're way too easy. FNAF 3, that's, like, the most broken I've ever seen FNAF. It's way too easy. Way too easy. And then the next segment, I think, is, what? Dark Rooms? Something like that, where... Oh, man, I don't know. I think it's Dark Rooms, where you have, like, Plush Trap. That minigame is broken. He goes at the exact same time, like... His movements are predictable in this game. Like, he moves the same... Like, his intervals are the same every time you play the minigame. Unlike FNAF 4, it's completely randomized, which is freaking awesome. There's Plush Baby, which is okay. It's actually pretty good, actually. There's... I gotta be missing one, man. Because I know that there's the Funtime Foxy room... where you go through and you flash the beaker. That one's... It could be better. I don't really have anything to say about that one. I know there's one in there I'm missing, I think. The next one, I think, is Parts and Service. People seem to love that one. To my knowledge, like, from people that I've talked to, people seem to love Parts and Service. I don't understand it. I don't understand any of it, actually. I don't like Parts and Service at all. It's far too easy. Once you know what to do, you can blaze through the minigame like nothing, and then you're done in, like, 0.2 seconds. It's really short, and there's not too much replayability with it. That's the way I see it. I don't know why that minigame section got so popular. Next one is Vent Repairs, I think. There's the Mangled one and the Ennard one. Ennard's is trash. Mangled, I actually like that one. I actually like the Mangled minigame. Ennard, it's bad. What's the next one? Night Terrors. The first one was Nightmare On, I think. That minigame, it's okay. And then there was Funtime Freddy. It's broken. I don't even think that's just me. I think that minigame is just broken. Like, you'd have to play it. It's broken. There's no way. It's busted. Okay? Who's next? Like Fredbear, Circus Baby. I think Circus Baby was next. That minigame far too easy. Then we have Nightmare Fredbear. That's like one of the better minigames in the entire game. I like that one a lot. Okay? And then the Nightmare modes, basically the same thing. Outside of Pizza Party, which is just, I don't know, not interesting at all to me. So basically most of the minigames I don't really care about. There's a couple in there that are good, and those couple aren't gonna bring this game up too much for me. And then we have Dreadbear DLC. I'm trying to speed this up because, man, I'm already on 20 minutes and we're only on number 10. We're halfway through. So Dreadbear, it starts off, I don't know the order of these at all. I'm not as familiar with Dreadbear, although I do like Dreadbear DLC much better than the base game. So I know that there's the corn maze. How can anybody forget the corn maze? That one is regarded as the hardest minigame in the game. I disagree with that. We'll get onto that later. So the corn maze, you collect a key and then you find the exit that corresponds with that key color. Simple. But where it shines is the secret ending. And I see why the level is infamous. I don't understand why people say it's the hardest though. So there's the secret ending where you get all 4 keys and then a 5th key spawns, which is a purple key, and then you get it, you go back to the beginning, the basement is open, you go in the basement and there's a Vanny mask. It's pretty cool. It's hard though. It is hard, but it's not the hardest thing ever. There's another mini game. There's Plushkin Baby, basically the same as Plush Baby. There's Build-A-Mangle. It's kind of interesting. It's the best way to gain all the prizes of the Dreadbear DLC. That's quick and short and easy. There's the trick-or-treating one, which is sometimes left up to RNG what happens, but that one's overall okay. There's like the main 3 nights, which is on the last folder. That one you're in the Fnaf 1 location defending against the Jacko animatronics plus Grim Foxy and Dreadbear. It's actually pretty awesome. I like that a lot. And then there's Captain Foxy's pirate ride, whatever. That one's actually pretty cool with the the alternate paths you can go on. And I think I've covered all of them except for the hallway, which is without a doubt the hardest minigame in the game. I don't know what people are saying about the corn maze, but the hallway is harder. What happens is you're supposed to walk to the end of the hallway. Okay, you literally start at one end of the hallway, you go to the other. You're going from point A to point B. Sounds easy. But there are doors on either side of the hallway all over the place. Like, there's way too many doors. I don't know whose house this is, but it's wild. So there's not the Jacko animatronics, just Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica come out of the doors, and when they're coming out of the doors, you can't go in front of the doors, so you have to stop for them. So you're stopping all the time. You never get a chance to freaking move, but you have to get to the end of the hallway, of course. It sounds like you just take your time, you'll get there eventually. But there's also Nightmare Foxy that spawns in front of you, and then when lightning flashes and lights the room up briefly, he'll just be there, and if you walk when the lightning flashes, he starts running at you. So you have to be cautious and not walk when lightning flashes, so you have to stop even more. And you might be thinking, still, just take your time, you'll get there eventually. But Nightmare Freddy is walking slower than anything, but he's walking behind you, and he won't stop walking. He follows you the entire way, and that forces you to move. That's like basically a spiked wall, and once the wall touches you, you die. So you gotta rush through this hallway, but you can't move. It's just so dumb, okay? That minigame, I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Enough about that, though. Overall, the game, it's got its moments, but it's definitely needs some work. Number 9, FNAF World. I don't even know what to say about this one. It's a classic, it's an RPG like freaking Pokemon, but better. The battles are pretty fun. It's got a lot of charm. Replayability is some of the best replayability I've seen in any game. The shop system could be a little bit better. The boss fights are pretty cool. The update 2 is awesome. Basically everything is good. This game is just good. It's FNAF World. I don't know how much I can really talk about it, so I'm just gonna move on because these conversations are just gonna get longer, I feel like. Number 8, FNAF Ruin. This game, I I think it was actually a little bit higher before I started getting like doing the game to full completion. This game, it's pretty good. It's basically Security Breach, but less open world and more linear, which is a good thing for sure. On a first playthrough, at least. Second time around, that linear nature, there's a lot of cutscenes. A lot of times where you're just waiting to see gameplay. Not too big of a fan of that. In that sense, Security Breach is better. Okay, the cutscenes do get out of hand in this game. And half the time, like if you know what you're doing and you're just trying to blaze through the game, it does feel like you're watching more cutscenes than you're actually playing the game. That's not a good thing. But when you are playing the game, it's an absolute blast. Like, this game is so much fun. I just wish there was an option, just even an option in the settings to disable all cutscenes. That'd be perfect. It's not an option though. I doubt they're going to change anything. That's just part of the game. Cutscenes, you'll have to watch them, and you'll have to watch them a whole bunch. So outside of the cutscenes, my negative towards the game is nothing. I don't have anything. This game is just awesome. I guess they kind of messed up Glamrock Freddy and Glamrock Chica. They kind of butchered those characters entirely. Ruined DJ Music Man doesn't even exist, but he doesn't help Wanted 2. So that doesn't make sense. Ruined Mini Music Man is actually freaking awesome though. Like Chapter 7, Bonnie Bowling. That's the best part of the game. That's my favorite chapter. I love that part. There's the secret in Chapter 7 where if you deactivate all the wet floor bots, you can open a secret room where shattered Glamrock Bonnie is just laying on the ground. That's pretty cool. That's the first time we got to see Glamrock Bonnie. To my knowledge, I don't think he's in Security Breach, and I've completed these games pretty thoroughly, so I think I would know. But maybe I don't. But to my knowledge, that's the first time you see Glamrock Bonnie. So that's pretty cool, and it did look good. And the secrets, like the prizes, it was alright in Security Breach. In this game, it's actually good. It was actually fun getting all the prizes. So that's perfect. Just what I needed was to actually have some fun with collecting things. Doesn't happen in any other game. The 3 different endings could be better. Like, once you've gotten one ending, it's not going to take you longer than 20 minutes for any of the other endings. Like, they pretty much just branch off of each other and right at the end of the game. So you can pretty much do any ending without, when you go into it, you don't know what ending you're going to get. You can basically choose by the end of it. I mean, there's not much that goes into these endings. Alright? So that's a little bit lame. Whereas Security Breach, all the endings, well, it is just leaving the pizzeria for most of them. There is definitely some bigger branches, if that makes sense. Everything else about Ruin, I mean, I think I covered everything pretty much. I mean, everything's good except for the cutscenes, and that really drags the game down. Because, I mean, if you've played the game once, just play through it a second time, you'll see what I mean. First time, didn't notice, didn't bother me, because it was a first time playthrough, you know. It's like, it's actually the best way the best thing I can compare it to is Bendy Chapter 3. We all know Bendy Chapter 3 is the worst chapter, and we all know it's because you're watching a lot of cutscenes at the beginning, and then it's a lot of, well, I guess the back and forth doesn't correspond to this game, but there are a whole bunch of cutscenes in Bendy Chapter 3, and there's a whole bunch of cutscenes in Fnaf Ruin, and that's the only thing that's keeping this game down for me, and it's a pretty huge thing when I'm just sitting here looking at the monitor and waiting. It's not fun, okay? It's like, it's not fun at all, but everything else is just perfect. Number 7, Ultimate Custom Night, UCN, the game with the hardest mode outside of pre-patched versions, because pre-patched 1020 and Fnaf SL is harder, if you ask me. 5020 is the best part of the game, of course. If we're talking about just the challenges are a good way to introduce you to these characters, but once you do any of them one time, you're never going back. There's no replayability. The fact that you can change the AI, it is a cool thing, alright? It's actually really cool. But unless you're going for 5020, there's not much of a reason to do anything harder than the custom challenges that are already pre-made for you. And if you're just doing that, the game, it's not very good. But 50-20 alone is just perfect, almost. There's nearly no RNG involved with 50-20. The only thing that I can exactly think of is XOR, which is, in case you don't know, that's Shadow DD. And she spawns every time on 50-20, but the time that she spawns is randomized. She spawns like before 1 a.m., but she needs to spawn early for the night to be like doable. And that kind of sucks. But other than that, there's no RNG involved with 50-20. As shocking as that sounds, it's basically all skill. Not as good as 10-20 and sister location. That hardest mode it's never gonna be beat. Never. Not in terms of difficulty. I mean, just like it's good. Yeah, I think you understood, but I feel like I had to clarify that. But yeah, 50-20 is great. It's fun. If I feel like I just want to have a challenge, sometimes I'll just go beat 50-20. It's just a good thing to go back to. So with 50-20, it does have some replayability because it's hard, and I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I'm wishing that it's freaking harder. That's probably not happening, but it is fun to go back to. So 50-20 is the reason that it's this high. Number 6, Help Wanted 2. I originally had this at number 2, but then I did my flat mode playthrough. I do like flat mode better than VR, but that's when I realized some of the mini games, they were just, it was a stunning sight. Like when I first played this game, I was just amazed by everything. Second time I played through it, I got over that amazement factor, and then it was just raw gameplay, and a lot of it is boring. I do like, it's just like Help Wanted 1. Some mini games are freaking awesome, legendary, and then others are not so good. The ones that aren't so good, I have to bring up, I don't really like the one with Helpy. I don't like the arts and crafts with Sun and Moon. I don't like the Roxy makeup thing. I don't like the carousel with Moon. I don't like the freaking memorization bullcrap with the endoskeletons. I mean, I could go on, but the point is a lot of them I don't like. But the few that I do like are just, they're so good. Like Funtime Gang from the SL folder, that's the best mini game in the game by far. It is awesome. It's just awesome. It could be harder. I think I'll be saying that about most of these mini games, but it could be harder. But it is pretty awesome. So it's just like Help Wanted 1, but the mini games that, I don't know why I'm messing with the audio, but the mini games that I do like in this game are better than the ones that I do like in Help Wanted 1. And the mini games I don't like in this game, I like them better than Help Wanted 1. Overall, I just like this game better than Help Wanted 1. And I already liked Help Wanted 1. It was alright. There's just a lot of problems. This game fixed a lot of those problems, but it still maintained a lot of those problems, if that makes sense. So that's why it's only a little bit above Help Wanted 1. Oh, also the secret ending, it's pretty cool. I actually really like the secret ending. Number 5, Fnaf 3. I originally had this right after Sister Location, so it was my third least favorite game. But I got thinking about it, and I was thinking hard about this game. Like, this game gave me the biggest issue when I was trying to rank these, because this game, it's basically, like, I don't know, it's just the most confusing game in terms of ranking it for me, because the type of player that I am, I like hard levels, I like challenging myself, so of course I'm naturally going to play the hardest modes of these games the most. That's where I spend most of my time. The hardest mode in this game is Aggressive Nightmare. It's trash. It's probably my least favorite hardest mode in the franchise. I wouldn't advise keeping Springtrap at camera 10, just saying that, but if you were to keep Springtrap at camera 10, he doesn't even have to go into a vent. You can just have him at camera 10, you go to reboot your audio, and he's outside your door. He books it, like, he hauls his butt all the way through this building. Like, he like, you know those shoes that Gregory can put on in security breach there in the Roxy salon, and then it makes him run faster? That's what Springtrap has on. Like, he's booking it through this building. He can, man, like, he's crazy. He's too fast. And it's completely random how fast he moves, and it seems like he has short burst of speed, or the RNG just goes through the freaking roof. and it's so crazy. And that short burst always happens when you're freaking rebooting something. It's just always like that. It's just dumb. But outside of Nightmare Aggressive, we have the main Five Nights. That's the only other part of the game outside of the mini games. That's part of the main Five Nights, I guess. The main Five Nights are awesome. I'm not gonna say they're as good as FNAF 4, but I think that besides FNAF 4, this is the best set of Five Nights we have. These Five Nights are awesome. And it's in particular the good ending. Or it's not even the good ending, it's just the end. We have the bad end and the end. The end is the secret ending with the mini games and stuff. It's so awesome. I love it. The mini games are perfect. How you get to the mini games is perfect, and the clues that the game gives you to find these mini games is perfect. Everything is perfect. I love this game. But that's the Five Nights only. So yeah, the good end, it's incredible. It's purely incredible. I love the good ending. It's awesome. I have no complaints when it comes to the main Five Nights. None at all. But where it really falls off is its hardest mode. I think that's a lot of the reason that people despise this game anyway. Maybe not back then, but these days I do think that's where the problem comes with this game. Is just that hardest mode. It's terrible. It sucks. So yeah, I really like the Five Nights though. Number 4, FNAF 2. FNAF 2 is pretty good, okay? This game used to be the holy grail of RNG. Like, it was the most RNG based thing ever to do 1020. But then we got 1020 down to a T. Like with the -7 strat, it takes out all RNG. So there's no RNG involved. But to me, I feel like that almost hurts the game because this game was so infamous for its RNG. And that's kind of what appealed to the game to me. And I hate RNG in video games, but that's kind of what made this game FNAF 2 for me. So for it to lose that kind of brings it down for me. I think if -7 didn't exist, it might have been higher. I have done the -7 strategy, but I only did it one time, so maybe I should try it a couple more times before I say anything like that. But yeah, the -7 strat hurts the game for me. Because the previous strategy was developed by Shooter25, where I use a timer to manipulate Foxy and stuff. It was really cool. But this -7 strategy, it's not as good as, in my opinion. I mean, it's obviously better. That's why it's a new strategy, but it's not as fun. I think that the Shooter25 strategy is just more fun. It has not the best. Either way, it's not the best custom night. The best custom night is always going to be Sister Location, but with Shooter25's strategy, this was one of the better custom nights. With the -7 strat, it doesn't feel like it's nearly the best custom night in my opinion. That's just me. And the base 5 nights, they're trash, they're garbage. Night 6, that's okay. I like Night 6. Night 6 is alright. And with the custom night, there's preset challenges, and you do get rewards for those. They're just kind of there to distract you, to make you put more hours in the game. They're not really there to do much else. So it's really just the main 6 nights plus 1020. And the main 6 nights trash, and the custom night is getting worse for me. So that's why it's not as high as it could have been. Number 3 is FNAF, just the first one. This game, I used to have this game a heck of a lot lower than what I do now. But that's because when I ranked all these games, I think I ranked these on my channel before, and this one was probably lower. But that's because back then I only played the older FNAF games. So to me, I didn't really feel anything for this game. Like, this game was just another game. But now that I've done all the newer games, I've grown an appreciation for the original 4 games. And this is, of course, one of the original 4. This is the original. And with that newfound appreciation for this game, it really brings this game up for me. I used to actually not even be that big of a fan of the original game. I used to, just not really enjoy my time with it. But I really do now. It's just like the atmosphere is nailed. The horror aspect it's alright. The way the animatronics AIs work is phenomenal, except for Freddy. I don't like Freddy's AI. It's kind of trash. Basically, everything is awesome except for Freddy's AI. That's the only thing I don't like about this game, and that's a pretty huge thing because he's the main character. And on 420, I mean, he's easy to deal with, sure, but there's definitely other kinds of mechanics he could have had besides just camping your right door the whole night. It's pretty boring. So that one thing brings it down freaking a couple spots. Like, this game could have been fantastic. I don't think it would have ever beat the other two ahead of it though, so maybe not. But anyway, speaking of, number 2 is I almost said Sister Location. It's Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, FFPS, or FNAF 6, whatever you call it. Doesn't matter. The point is that the office segments are awesome. The simulator portion of the game, to briefly talk about it, it's alright. Like, there's not too much. You can play test things, and then that you get money overnight, and then you buy things and put things down. There's not too much to do there. The salvage segments, they do get boring. They do just waste more time. But where this game shines is the office segments. And I'm thinking that just the office segments alone bring it up this high. Like, if we didn't have all the other crap, if it was just the office segments, I don't think this spot would move at all, because the office segments are so much better than FNAF 1's, but they're not nearly as good actually as the number 1 spot. So I don't think the spot would change, but this game would get severely better if it was just the office segments, because in the office segments, it's just perfect. All right, so you're in an office, you got 2 vents to each of your side with like a monitor in front of you. And when an animatronic goes in the vent, you have to look into the vent and turn everything off. You have to make absolutely no sound. So you have to listen for maybe you're listening for not hearing any sound. You're listening to an absence of sound to tell when they've left. But when you're trying to listen to the absence of sound, and then you get surprised with a jump scare, even though the jump scare sound is trash, the jump scare itself is trash, it still is very effective, just because you're trying to listen, you're trying to pay attention for when there is nothing, and it's just perfect, because you're paying attention, trying to look for nothing, and then there's something. I hope that makes sense, but it's awesome. And then the actual terminal in front of you, it's awesome. Okay, so you got the task, you got a complete task. It's not like task in freaking Among Us. It's just like you press a button and then it loads. But that makes it so that the night's length is in your control. I like that a lot. And then you have the movement detector. That one's just to see where the freaking animatronics are. It's basically useless with the next tab, which is the I don't remember what it's called, but like sound lure, audio lures, whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm talking about. Those are already detecting animatronics, so motion detector sucks. You can use these audio lures to lure animatronics. I would always advise putting it on the right side, because the right side is slightly harder than the left side. But you do have these lures to your advantage. And then the third tab is silent ventilation, which is actually not bad. It's a lot better than some people say it is, but it's still use the freaking audio lure. So you just put an audio lure in the middle left spot on the right side. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. And then you just do your task and listen for crap. If you hear something in the vent, turn everything off and look into that vent. If you hear something on both sides, you might be screwed. But just try your best. Look, like, alternate and stuff. You can pull through. It's awesome. The whole office segment is perfect. I love it a lot. Now, number 1, Fnaf 4. This game, it's been my favorite game ever since it came out. When this game came out, I played it, and it was far better than the original 3, in my opinion. And then every game that came out after that, I always compare it to this game, and it's just an unfair comparison, because no FNAF game will ever be as good as FNAF 4. FNAF 4 is just awesome. The main 5 nights are the best 5 nights in any FNAF game. The Night 6 is awesome. Nightmare, I'll talk about Nightmare in a minute, alright? That's a little bit ahead. So the main 5 nights, with like the you got the cutscenes with the crying child. You play as the crying child. The cutscenes are awesome. They're better than the ones in FNAF 3. In fact, they're perfect. The jump scare sound, by the way, is the best jump scare sound in any FNAF game. The jump scares themselves are the best jump scares in any FNAF game. They're perfect. But other than the mini games and the actual game itself, we have Fun with Plush Trap. Fun with Plush Trap, it's very good. It's just an extra side thing to keep you occupied, and it really does keep you occupied. It's awesome. It's just like, it's like the salvages in FNAF 6, but actually good. Like the salvages and FNAF 6 are just there to waste time, but it does it poorly. There's like no fear at all. Fun with Plush Trap, I'm never playing Fun with Plush Trap and just wishing, man, I wish I was just playing the game. Because with Fun with Plush Trap, there's actually a reward to it. I mean, I guess there is in FNAF 6, but your reward is cash money. And that doesn't even matter. So you actually get rewarded for doing Fun with Plush Trap. And Fun with Plush Trap, it's fun. It's literally in the name. Fun with Plush Trap. If you're having fun with them. I mean, it's simple. It's in the name. It's pretty good. And then we have the main 5 nights. Like the night segments. It's a cycle. Of course, every FNAF game is a cycle. Which the cycle is just running around. Sounds boring, but it is fun because you go to the doors and then you listen for breathing, and then you shut the door if there's breathing. If there's no breathing, flash the lights. I'm sure everybody knows. The closet, just shut the door for 7 seconds. The bed, just get rid of the frettles. That's all right, but the jump scares are flawless. Like, even to me now, sometimes they can get me to flinch sometimes. I said sometimes twice, and that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. It's just, the jump scares are perfect. Whenever I have somebody come over, and they're like, let's play a game, and I'm like, okay, FNAF 4, you can play, I'll watch. It's always how it goes. Yeah, this game is just, it's the best horror game ever made. It's so perfect. It's actually scary. It has good gameplay, and the story is awesome. That's a 3 for 3 combo. It's so good. FNAF 4 is perfect. There's nothing. Oh, I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with it, but I forgot to talk about Nightmare. Nightmare, the big black bear with the yellow hat and yellow bow tie. He's trash. I hate him. He's like the worst. Absolutely the worst. He's just a harder version of Fredbear. Nothing sounds too wrong about that because Fredbear's pretty cool, but Nightmare, pure RNG. Pure RNG, nothing else to it. He's RNG. It sucks. It really does suck. Because it's the only thing that's even remotely RNG based in the entire game. Nothing else, like, you get jump scared by anybody, it's your own fault, unless it's Nightmare. If it is Nightmare, I guarantee you it's not your fault. Because he's a very simple mechanic. At this point in time, you should have it down. And once you die, I mean, sure, maybe you could have optimized yourself to defend him. But most of the time, it's not even your fault if you died to this guy. He's just trash. The hardest modes, like, they're so bad just because of Nightmare. I don't even like the hardest modes. I typically like hard modes in FNAF games, but this one is just trash. It's not as bad as Nightmare Aggressive in FNAF 3, but the fact that we have to compare it to that, that says a lot in itself. So when I prefer, like, sometimes I'll just play through the main 5 nights just randomly. I'm like, okay, I want to play a good horror game, FNAF 4, main 5 nights. And I enjoy my time. But we also have night 6, which is definitely the best night. That one, you do the first 4 nights like usual. Nights, or hour 5 and 6, starting at 4 a.m., so 4 through 5 through 6, that's 2 hours. For 2 hours you have to deal with Nightmare Nightmare Fredbear instead of the original 4. And it's nice. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So what he does is he takes places for all the animatronics. He goes to the left and right door, just like Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica, and he'll laugh, and that means he's either at the bed, closet, or if it was a fake laugh, he'd be at one of the doors, whatever door he would be at if he didn't laugh. So he can't do that fake laugh, and that does throw you off, but it is still manageable, because if you just go you don't even have to bother with them. All right, it's cool. It's fun. Nightmare, when he laughs, and if like for Nightmare Fredbear, if he laughs, there's 3 spots that you can go to. If you guess 2 of them wrong, you can still get to that 3rd one if you're efficient enough. Nightmare, on the other hand, you guess 2 spots wrong, you might as well press F2. Like, you don't stand a chance. You're not getting to that 3rd spot in time. Not at all. Like, even if you get to that spot, like, say you go to the bed and then the freaking closet, he's not at either of those. He's at the door. You go to the door, you shut the door, he'll still kill you. It doesn't matter. His timer is wild. You can get up there and shut the door in time, and then the freaking lights will start flickering, and then he'll jump scare you. Doesn't matter. He also has the crappiest jump scare you've ever seen. It's the worst jump scare on the planet. Nightmare just sucks. Everything else perfect. Like, it's a flawless game. It's trying to think of a better word. It's not flawless because it's got one flaw. Its only flaw is Nightmare. It's so annoying. It really is. So yeah, that's about it. That's every FNAF game from worst to best. Now, this is actually my 2nd time recording this, because the first time, I had FNAF 3, right after Sis Location. I had FNAF 3 at number 10, and now I have FNAF 3 at number 5. And I had Help Wanted 2. Actually, I had it at number 3. I had FNAF Help Wanted 2 as number 3. And now it is at number 6. So those 2 spots got drastically changed. So I had to remake the whole video. Alright, but it's fine. It worked out. And it's all good. Okay, so for I do have to say a couple things before I get off of here. With like future videos, just so you guys know, I'm trying to remake my video where I ranked every FNAF character from worst to best. I think I have 119 or 120, I don't remember. I had a lot of characters to rank, and I'm putting them all in order from worst to best. This is my 3rd time doing this, but with me doing Security Breach and Ruin to completion, my rankings on most of those characters changed drastically. All of them went up, except for one. One went down, also drastically. And it is one of the main 4 characters, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, I do want to do that video, and it's gonna take some time, because one of these characters from Security Breach is probably gonna make my top 5. My top 5 of all FNAF characters, a Security Breach character might be on there. They're also in Ruin. I'm not gonna say who it is, of course, but here's where the complication comes in. I like the original character. I like the Shattered version. I like the Ruin version. Almost all of them are equal. The Shattered and Ruin versions specifically are awesome. The regular one, it's a little bit worse, but still a great character. But this character, I want to have all 3 versions right next to each other on the tier list. But since it's a top 5 character, that would fill up more than half of the entire top 5. And that wouldn't look right. So, I mean, with this one character, that gets very complicated. For the other animatronics, like, I can't really say, because I'm trying to keep this a secret as good as I can. But, there's another character that I like the regular version, Shattered version, and Ruined version, but all 3 of them are very well differentiated in terms of where they would be on the list. But for this one character, that's definitely a top 5 character, all 3 versions are very good. Very, very good. So that's where I don't know what to do exactly. I'm almost thinking about ranking all 3 versions as one character, which I don't think is the best thing to do. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But just know that that video is on its way. I'm hoping to get it out sometime by the end of this month. I'm hoping, anyway. So yeah, that's about it for this video. I suck at outros. Goodbye.